Hey, 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 Seasons of Mere Work begins. Conversations with Lady O. I am your host, Lady O. I have finished my work day. It is now 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, April 29th, 2025. It is the day after election. Like everybody, I woke up, I saw it. I had no time to record because I do have a day job in addition to my academics of pursuing my master's. So my day is finished, and I promised myself I am going to do a response. I saw some posts where someone actually made a great feedback in regards to Carlton. Because when I saw that Pierre lost Carlton, I'm like, what? And then someone said, how is that possible? And they showed what the statistics are saying, what the population of Carlton is, minus children, and how many of those are citizens. And the person said the numbers don't matter, does not add up as to how many votes they said in Carlton comparing to how many adults and citizens are in Carlton. They said the numbers doesn't add up. So I hope Pierre really looks into this. Now, Pierre, you talked about the liberal math doesn't add up. Please, I know you and Anna fought a long fight. Possibly feel like you're exhausted. You've been fighting for us and being on this for the past 3 years. And then the snap election that was called, what you had to do, I know you're coming on to the end. We're just asking that you don't leave any stone unturned, especially in your riding where they don't want your voice in parliament so you can challenge Carney and make him look as weak as we know that he is. Something is going on. This doesn't make sense. This is why, Pierre, we're asking you to do not make any stone go unturned. Anybody who's been telling you all this time, your mannerisms is like Trump, your mannerisms like Trump, listen, don't listen to anybody that's telling you challenging this is like Trump. No, challenging this is like what is put in place for our Canadian election policies. We have this in place. We have challenges in place. That's why it's there. So please, if the numbers based on what that person said and they showed the number, if it doesn't make sense, Pierre, it doesn't make sense. And we need a fighter all the way to the end. Comparisons they want to throw at you. There's some personality traits that many human beings share in common. And one of them is perseverance. One of them is tenacity. One of them is grit. Trump is not the only one that has all of those personalities. Many human beings share those personalities. So come on, Pierre. If what we saw, what is being said doesn't make sense, the numbers in Carlton, based on what Statistics Canada says the population in Carlton is, minus the population of children, the numbers that they're saying that voted in Carlton does not make sense. And because all you have to do is not show proof of citizenship, you just got to show proof of address, we need to have proof of citizenship. Everybody's given a citizenship certificate. The old school ones have the card or whatever. In addition to your photo ID, and some of them not even photo ID, you just need a bill. Anybody can get a bill. Landed immigrant, permanent residents can get a bill. Part of the identification should be your proof of citizenship. For crying out loud, for passport services, you need to show proof of citizenship. Either your birth certificate, and if your birth certificate doesn't match your current ID that you're showing because of change of marriage, change of name, you have to have a supporting document that make sense why your name on your birth certificate is different than the name you have now. And if you are naturalized as a citizen, you have a citizenship certificate. And again, if you change your name since then, you have to have supporting documents. Why are we not having all that for elections? So, Anna, 10 hours ago, that is what I posted. I've gotten 2 likes, 455 impressions since I dropped that. That was done 10 hours ago. And that is what initially came to me when I saw this. And I said, as soon as I get home, I am going to do my episode. So let's make it possible, Anna. And You can pause that. For those who are visually impaired, yes, let me read it. So, this is a post on Pierre Poilievre's LinkedIn page. And I did a post. It says, I would love to collaborate with Anaida as soon as possible. This is important. The Liberals didn't win this. China won this. Carney is going to implement Pierre's ideas as his own. This is what plagiarists do. Build, baby, build is a code word for thanks for the ideas, Pierre. We'll take it from here. Stealing intellectual property is how these businessmen build their wealth. But we can mitigate this and ensure that Carney has no choice but to live in Pierre's shadow. I also said I'm tired of seeing this done to so many of us who do the right things and see others win dishonestly by stealing, lying, and trickery. I continue to say, Carney and China will begin trade talks and sell it to Canadians as the way forward to stick it to Trump. And seeing that everybody is so fearful of Trump, and because the Liberals have seen the rinse and repeat of keeping you in fear, and Doug Ford also used that because he is a Liberal, that tactic of fear, they're going to keep using that. So China's interference in this election and all others always had the bottom line of conquering the West. And you who live in the West are allowing that to happen. And Justin and Jagmeet were happy to oblige. Jagmeet isn't crying that he lost. That's why he stayed around to get his pension, because he doesn't want to return. He doesn't want to return. This was all planned. They're handing it off to the next person to continue. Jagmeet wanted to make sure he gets his full pension. He's not, and he wants to do something so bad that you don't reelect him, so that he doesn't have to leave. Because what reasons is he gonna use to leave? The only way he can leave is if he really does a terrible job, and this is the best way to do a terrible job. And he's not crying. He's going all the way to the bank with his big pension. I continue to say, do I want Trump to fail since he intentionally meddled with our election when so many of us in Canada also wanted to drain our swamp? Trump sacrificed us for personal feelings. It will come back to haunt him. Because when China is successful with Carney to cut out the middleman and ship directly to Canada, and they don't need to go to America, when everybody cut out the middleman and go directly to the markets that are going to consume their products, they're colluding with leadership who have no integrity. Trump thinks that he's going to be alive forever. He wants to leave a legacy for him. See, this is the personality trait now of Trump that gets in his way of the people. Trump is not going to be around forever. He is setting up America to fail in the long run. He wants his name to go down in history. He doesn't care about the longevity. He doesn't care about how he's doing this and how he's setting it up for the future. So, let me remind Trump that America is not going to be great by itself in a silo. So anyhow, I continued and I said, Diana Carney will be on her tour to be the face of their agenda. It's important that faces like Anaida and mine be the ones for the millions who voted against that agenda. That was my LinkedIn post. The next post I saw when I woke up after I went to LinkedIn, I saw this.
The Liberals won. They won. And obviously I'm not very happy about it. I'm clearly disappointed. The funny thing is Carney didn't win it. Trump did. Trump won the election for them with his comments of 51st state, the tariffs. He handed it to them. Pierre Poilievre didn't blow the lead. Donald Trump did. And the Liberal Party, I will give them this. They did a really good job of campaigning on people's fears. And generally, when there is a time of conflict, the party in power is the one that tends to benefit. Happens in war. This is no different. This was, to me, economic warfare. Conservatives, be gracious in defeat, regardless of how unhappy we might be. We got to show class. Sorry, guys. It wasn't for a lack of trying.
It's still there 9 hours ago. That is when I posted that. So now the next one that I saw right after that was this one. This one is Mr. Bill O'Reilly. I went down when he did his first Three Americas event. It was just him. It was just Stephen A. Smith, Bill O'Reilly, and Chris Cuomo. But now they're doing the first 100 days. I went down to hear directly and speak directly to Mr. Bill O'Reilly because he seemed to have the ears of Trump based on the interviews that I've seen Bill O'Reilly have done. So this says 38 minutes ago, but this was also done about 9 hours ago. That's what I posted on his page. Let's see if it's still there. 9 hours ago. Then the next one that I did, I didn't see it. I went straight to Truth Social and I made it personal to him. Everything is the same except I made sure I put the word you in there. And for this one, I also added to let him know that he will soon understand that no man is an island in this world. His America will not be great again without Canada being great again. We share the same continent. This idea that it's only you against the world and it's Trump, you may live your life that way, but you yourself know that your success is not just you. It's a team. One person relike and one person reposted. I just noticed that now. It was originally done at 9:07 a.m. That's my handle there. If you're over on Truth Social, come join me. For those who are visual, it's the same thing that I read before. Is now I'm just showing on my X page. And I tagged Pierre Poilievre and Anna Poilievre. And the same thing I said, I would love to collaborate with Anna Poilievre as soon as possible. I said the same thing there. So that post is also there on my X page. What you'll also see right below it is the post that I did specifically to Donald Trump. I went on his X page and I posted on his X page and then I reposted on mine. So it's right there. That again was done 9 hours ago. Right after that, I went and I posted on JD Vance. And JD Vance, I let him also be aware because Trump's Instagram page has limited comments. After a while, they turn off the comments. See, 9 hours ago. So those are the pages of where I went first thing when I got up, got myself ready, and I went online to see what the results were. And that was my reaction. So now I'm putting it out there. Let's make it happen, Anna. Don't give up. Don't throw in the towel. I know how exhausting this has been. You're a mother of 2 young children. That in itself adds a different layer of being present, right? Let's make it happen, Anna. I'm putting it out there. I'm a woman that believes that you put things out there and you just let your intention put things into play and into action. So, Anna, let's make it happen. I believe that this is going to be a great tool because we know there's a narrative that's going to want to permeate Canada. We do not have a talk show where Canadians can really tune in on a regular basis. I'm a classical liberal. So, Anna, you being a conservative, me being a classical liberal, I believe will be a great narrative buster for this progressive liberal and the progressive conservative that is out there. I'm classical, you're classical. The progressive liberals that's happening out there, and for you, the progressive conservatives that are out there, they have sold Canada out. So I believe, Anna, let's make it happen. I'm going to tag you on this. I'm going to leave it there. And this is going to be what I'm going to pin at the top. Because I believe someday you're going to watch this, hear this, and you'll be like, oh, that's you, Lady O. And I'd say, yep, I've been asking for us to connect for a long time. Because they are progressive liberals who are Trojan horses, who are wearing the conservative banner. And I know for a fact, because I spoke to one of them, who apparently did not, one of the reasons they didn't vote, and they say, I'm a conservative, and I'm voting for liberal. I'm like, why? Because of his black wife. I'm like, what? I'm like, when you talk, what? I'm like, so I was shocked. I was like, black, I'm like, Anna? I'm like, so I'm like, are you making sure she's talking about the right political party? Because I'm thinking, we're in Canada. Are you sure is this conservative party talking about? Or are you talking about the UK conservative leader, Kemi, that many people have an issue of her skin color? No. Pierre's wife. And I was like, and the way she emphasized the word black, I was like, wow, I'm conservative and I'm voting for liberal because I'm voting for country. I'm like, no. There's a little bit more than that. And the more she spoke, the more I realized that there's some personal reasons why she's not voting for Pierre, because her logic, every time I pushed back at why she brought up a reason, it wasn't making sense, and it was stumping her. And it wasn't making sense. So I was shocked to hear that from someone who says they're conservative. But I realized, and when I stop and analyze how we met, she is a supporter of Doug Ford, and she supports Doug Ford, and no matter what Ford does, she thinks he's the better choice. And I sat back, I'm thinking, you know what? Yeah, you are a progressive conservative. You're not a conservative. And I could see why you would be having an issue that she's Venezuelan. And I'm like, yeah, but that's not what you call quote unquote black. I was shocked. I was even quiet. And I think at one time she said, are you still there? And I'm like, yeah, I'm here listening. I was I was shocked that this is what a claimed conservative is saying, why she's voting for Carney and her whole family and many people she's talking to. I was like, yeah, if this is what progressive conservatives are feeling and saying, this is why I'm saying, and I've said it, the best thing for the federal party is to cut their distance with Doug Ford. And this would mean that all of your campaign managers, advisors, anybody that has a Doug Ford resume, I would strongly recommend that you cut them. You can't serve two masters. You're going to love one and hate the next. And people cannot compartmentalize that way. If you are a real honest conservative, you would not find yourself near anything called Doug Ford. So anybody who is have been a part of the Doug Ford's campaign, I should say, his campaign, and they work hard to put him in power, there's no way that they would be able to put Pierre in power and to help Pierre come into power. Because then that tells me that you're really not doing this because of integrity or having a hard invested interest. This is about your portfolio. This is about your CV. This is about building your career. This is not about putting yourself in a career based on your values. Your values tell me you're going to jump around to build your CV. So I would strongly recommend that Pierre, apart from pruning and weeding out any Doug Ford candidates that want to run federally, I applaud you if that's the reason why you said no to some people. I applaud you. Because to me, this is not a lose. Because I heard that you actually flipped some liberal seats. And this is why I'm saying I believe you should challenge the count in your writing. It does that. The numbers don't make sense as to how much to say voted and statistically how many people live in Carleton minus children. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And if that means we now need to match everybody's name to the citizenship registry, we need to start doing that. Because something doesn't make sense. And what also doesn't make sense is for the federal Conservative Party to have anybody associated with them that has and is connected to Doug Ford's campaign. Carolyn Mulroney might just get Doug Ford out. And I stopped pushing myself to cancel my membership because I believe there's going to be a membership revolt provincially. And I don't want to pay twice to get a membership. So I'm holding on to my membership because I'm waiting for Carolyn Mulroney to get rid of Doug Ford and turn the Ontario Conservative Party back to being, get rid of the word progressive and just call it the Conservative Party of Ontario. Done. And all of the progressives that in there, they could run to the Liberals. They could run to the NDP, and we could start building up our provincial party with true conservatives, which many classical liberals like myself were waiting for. Because the Liberal Party provincially is not going to turn back to be classical. Bonnie is staying on board. There's one MPP that I supported because of knowing who she is, but I've come to just see that she is going to be a clog in the wheel. Although she says no one tells her what to do and no one, I'm just seeing otherwise. So I don't see her taking over the party and becoming the leader. And that's what I told her. I said, I would support the party if you get rid of Bonnie. And Bonnie's staying. She made her announcement. So that answers my question. The Liberal Party is going to stay exactly on the train wreck that it's going to be. It's not going to turn back to be a classical party. So you just got to accept what it is and just move on. So this is why I am going to keep my provincial membership, hoping that Carol Mulroney is going to take over. And as soon as I see that Carol Mulroney is not going to challenge and make Doug Ford have a new leadership, then I'll be canceling my membership. So, Anna, let's make it happen. I believe we can truly make a significant dent and keep the momentum going, because Ontario needs to flip. Alberta, like the West, man, we don't even got a word, but the West got it on. They have it together. It's Ontario, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, the East. We got to figure out how we can wake the classical liberals out there. Because I believe there's many of us who don't have a home. We don't have a political home. And they need to hear and feel that there is a choice. You and Pierre did not have the time that was needed for Canada nationally to get to know you. And that is why Mark Carney called a snap election. And as my previous, as you heard Mario said, they're good at using fear. It was a textbook that made Doug Ford won. They rinse and repeat it. And I believe that having Doug Ford's people in your campaign was not a wise choice. But we live and we learn, because they have to make a choice. Anybody in your campaign team, Pierre, must be loyal to conservative values, period. And if you are loyal to conservative values, you cannot be working towards making Doug Ford win. You can be a member hoping for the best, that sooner or later they're going to switch the membership, and be vocal as a progressive conservative member speaking against Doug Ford. We need to get rid of Doug Ford as the leader of the Progressive Conservative Party. And being a member of the Progressive Conservative Party, I want a change. Period. Until then, I'm going to be right here. This is Lady O. Stay in action and faith and possibility. Walk in and protect your light. Your purpose will find you. Say what you mean and live like you mean what you say.